Chapter 1. A Boy with a Dream. Aosta is an ancient town that today is near the border between Italy and France. The border is marked by a chain of very high mountains called the Alps. The Alps are so close to Aosta that Anselm could see them everywhere he went. As a child, he stared at them with amazement. They were high and powerful and always capped with shining snow, so he was sure God lived there. Once, he dreamed he was able to climb to the top of one of those mountains, where a kind and powerful lord and his servant gave him some white bread to eat. In those days, only rich people ate white bread, so this was a special meal. When he woke up, he thought the Lord in his dream was God, and that he had gone to heaven. As he grew up, Anselm learned more about God, and understood that he is a spirit not seen by men. He was especially close to his mother, Ehrenberger. She came to his rescue once when a harsh teacher made him study so hard without any breaks that Anselm lost all joy and became very timid and discouraged. When Anselm was about 14 years old, he decided to become a monk. Monks live together in places called monasteries or abbeys and devote all their time to prayer, learning about God, and helping others. In Anselm's time, people thought that to become a monk, or nun for women, was the best thing a Christian could do. For Anselm, however, there was a problem. To become a monk, he had to have his father's permission. But Anselm's father, Gundulf, had different ideas for his son's future. He wanted him to have a good career and make money. Anselm insisted. He even prayed that God would make him sick, hoping that the abbot in charge of the abbey in Aosta would feel sorry for him and take him in, even if his father disagreed. When he finally got sick, he called the abbot, begging him again, but the answer was still no. Soon, however, Anselm became less interested in both God and studies, and more interested in having fun with his friends. He still tried to behave because he really loved his mother. A few years later, she died. Without her influence, he spent even more time doing whatever he liked. He was also having many strong disagreements with his father, so much that he felt he could not please him any more. Finally, when he was 23, he packed a few of his things and left home with one of his servants. He wanted to travel to the other side of the Alps to look for a teacher who could help him understand the most important things in life. Many young people at that time traveled around Europe to look for greater knowledge. The internet, television, and radio had not been invented. Books were still few because they had to be copied by hand. There weren't even any universities, so people could increase their knowledge only by visiting famous teachers, who often ran their own schools. Traveling was difficult and dangerous. People usually traveled on foot, horseback, or in wagons and had to watch out constantly for robbers. Anselm used a donkey to carry his belongings over the Alps because donkeys are very good at climbing mountains. The trip across the Alps was long and tiring. At one point, when all the food seemed to be gone, Anselm was so hungry that he started to eat snow. He might have fainted if his servant had not looked carefully in the bag they had tied to the back of their donkey, where he found some white bread they didn't know was there. On the other side of the Alps, Anselm moved from region to region throughout the area we now call France, listening to different teachers. After travelling 3 years, he moved further north to an abbey in the town of Bec, in the region of Normandy. There, an Italian teacher named Lanfranc had become famous for his great knowledge and wisdom. Anselm was 26 at the time.